Hello everyone, just checking here the audio. Hello everyone, yeah, it's working. And sorry about yesterday, I was really tired yesterday, but I also had made some changes here and I will be passing them for you because even I hadn't worked yesterday, I made some changes at the repo here in our project. First off, and you will be noticing that I will be using the GitHub CLI a lot here, the G8 PR create, because I added some branch protections in our project. So now I have to create some branches to create a pull request and go to the GitHub and approve that pull request to make more a better project to be working. I also had added some documentation. I started, like I said at the last stream, and you can see we also now have some workflows that I'm working on them because they had some issues and I trying to make them work. I'm not really interested in thinking about it, so I just letting the AI to write that workflow, and yeah, it had some really bad issues. For example, now it's not working at all. I have to force the pull request approval. And I also will be showing for you the documentation. We can compile then with just docs and that it generates our documentation. We had some warnings here, but I think that's working yet. Yeah, we have a lot of warnings, but yeah, it's compiled. And we can use docserve. I think it's docserve. Yeah, it's docserve, and we can come here and type 0.0.0.0 at, I don't remember the port, 88. And I decided the name of the engine and it will be Goiaba engine. I was without ideas, and Goiaba is a Portuguese word that I don't know how it's in English. Guava,
Guava.
guava. It's my favorite fruit, and I was without ideas, and I decided to name it Goiaba. So we have some here, we can see the API, the namespaces of the project, everything. And most of the things aren't yet documented. It's just the API and not a documentation at all yet. But here the entity class, I already started writing the documentation and of the API, and later we'll be having everything documented and also a real documentation, not just an API definition. For this documentation, I can show for you here. Later, I will be letting it to be a separated thing, and I will be, and maybe it's a separated thing like a website to check that kind of thing. And here I can come to, first of all, I will be going to just file here. You can see I'm using the Doxygen to generate the XML file that contains everything and running Sphinx to build the HTML. And here you can see that I called it Doxygen generated and the Sphinx. And at the Sphinx itself here at docs at the conf.py, we have some things like, for example, we're using two extensions, the brief and the exhale. The brief is for making the connection with the Doxygen, and the exhale that's generated our API definition. Here you can see that. It's basically that, and I will be I think I will be removing that here. Yeah, I want to trash then, and here I also want to trash because later it will be auto-generated by the CI, and we don't want to care about it. So let's continue from where we have to work, and I think I want to make this stream a little bit of like the last stream, a little bit of house cleaning. Will be adding tests to our engine. We don't have tests at all yet. So that is the idea of today. And I also changed some things like you can see here, it's GE. It's GE, the namespace yet now. And it was engine. The namespace also had changed. I also come here and changed it from manager to scene manager because I know that it's a manager class inside the scenes namespace, but I think scene manager is a better name. And today we'll be adding a lot of tests, and I also already have planned what we'll be doing in the next streams. Maybe I also will be adding the a project in GitHub that we can track where we are and what we'll be doing next. Probably in my free time I will be doing that. So to start here, I want to use the doc tests. I was checking the alternatives, like I was really thinking about the G test of the Google, but studying more about the options in our use case, I think doc tests will be the better option for us. And my
logic branching. Select
and my phone Google just thought that I was talking with it. Sorry about that. So we have a lot of things that we can use here, and I want to implement our tests here and start making, like I said, some house cleaning. And if we got a time, sufficient time, I want to start upgrading our asset manager and doing tools, because I've decided that I want to make possible for us to not just um, create a game like Unity. Basically, you have to open the editor and everything and do the thing using the editor. Godot, I think, is the same. And I think I want to have the editor, but I also want to be possible to just code like Bevy, the Bevy engine, just code it. So I'm decided to create some tools like an asset pipeline. Like I think Monogame has one, but I hate. Yeah, the Monogame is the Monogame, but I hate that asset pipeline. You have to open a GUI and select your assets and make it. We'll be doing something better. And while you are developing the project, the engine will be using just the file itself. We can, at runtime, for example, delete one file and it will like a break some things if it's not loaded at time. But when we create a release, we'll be doing some fun things you'll be seeing in the next streams. So if we have time, we'll be starting developing it. And now we need to install the test system and start the house cleaning. Also, I want to start also implementing a Pong project in C++ using our engine to really test it. So, but we also we need to do that. We need a lot of things before we can write our Pong Pong game, Pong sample. We will be needing input. We doesn't have an input system yet. We also be needing to the to finish our asset system because we for now it just can handle images. But yeah, it will be working for a Pong, but I want something more robust. So for we start writing our examples. And I think that's the two men and also create a renderer API because we hadn't done that yet. But I'm very happy with how the engine is now. We have a great foundation to continue working. And it's what we'll be thinking at that stream. We'll be creating our tests to guarantee that everything we have we have done with this code base yet and everything that we'll be doing in the future will be also working in the correct way. And I think I have some issues here. Yeah, the flight check icon. Okay, so let's start here. We have to include doc tests. So the first thing we need to download the doc tests. And let's check which version is here at the RepDB. Normally, it's not a great version. Not a recent at least. 2.5.1/1 and the current version is 2.5.2 from yesterday. Use single source for docs tests with main target. It's a pretty small change. And that that wrap package is updated, or 2 weeks ago was updated. So I think I will be using the doc test from the Mason build. And thinking here, I will be wanting the. Oh, I think I closed it. Yeah. I will be wanting the to have access to the doc test in every subdirectory. Maybe samples not, but we will be having access at the build. So we'll be using here doc test. And also want to come to engine because I don't remember very well how things are done here. Okay, now I remember doc test underline depth is equal to dependency, and it will be doc test, I think, probably. And we need to come here and Mason wrap in install doc test. And great. Now we have to come here, and if I'm right, we can come here at the end and write doc test underline depth, and it will be working. Let's test. Let's see if it builds. And I'm yet have to remove that warnings from our our sub projects, and it working. Great. So I think the first how do I say, the first last piece of code that will be tested will be the scene. So yeah, I think it will be the easiest thing to test. No, the scene, no. Yeah, the scene. Yeah, it's the scene what I want to test. And now I need to read here the doc test. Oh, sorry. Documentation. Okay, but I'm thinking is that I need to use, I need to make the tests at the .h. I think it's at the .cpp. Yeah. I'm expect to be it. So now we'll be closing that buffers that we don't want for now. And I want to come here at the engine and come to our scene.cpp. And I think that I can come here and use include doctest.h. Implement with main. Yeah, that's one thing that I need to understand. And define some also have more than one unit test in your with unit tests. You just include and go. Usually it's a good idea to create an implementation file that has define config implement with main. You can also provide your own implementation of main derive. Okay, I need, for instance, always separate source files from code they test is containing only tests. They recommend us to have separated files that only contains the test. Yeah, I think so. Hmm. Also, we have some build system integrations, but I think it's all about, yeah, it's all about CMake. Okay, what I'm thinking that we'll be doing, so that's not recommended to here at this file, we'll be having two files. One will be the implementation file like we have here, scene.cpp, and we also have scene underline tests in underline test.cpp. I think is that what they recommend. No, but I think I've saw that. Oh, they have Yeah, I have to think, but I think more about, but I think that would be our way to go. And oh, maybe it's here that I saw that. No, I don't know where I saw that pattern, but we'll be using it. So first of all, we'll be needing an entry point for our test executable. And we also have to think test will be an oh, it's because I think that we have an SRC. Yeah, so the tests must be test tests. That's how they name it. Yeah. And they have a name of the project. So I can have here interesting. We can back here, make a tests folder, and we'll be having another folder named engine, and inside it we'll be adding a folder named scenes slash scene underline test dot cpp. That will be it. And here I want to know the test folders. Where is the entry point that they use? Docs test part private XML. Dun, doc test add unit tests. Okay, if I'm understanding it, I'm thinking that they doesn't do something like that. Maybe it's explained. They explain it here. To test, you could use no. For cat, Google tests, doc tests, Fred Hour is most supported. How to use it with multiple files. Define either doc test implement with man or in only one of the source files just before including the docs test header. It also other source files. So we'll be creating a test.cpp. That will be our main entry point. So we'll be here, come here, edit inside outside engine. Yeah, it will be outside the engine. Or we want some tests for, yeah, I think it will be inside engine. It will be named test.cpp. And here we'll be using the doc test config implement with main. Yeah, that's what I want. And here, because of the linker, because it's here, We'll be using that. And we also need to set it as a folder. Okay, we have to make some changes in our Mason config. Unit tests. In tests, and then use it in a test. Yeah, I think checking here, I can make something like that. First of all, we'll be needing some Mason, some changes in our Mason config here. Engine. Oh, wrong. Mason.build, and we also need to come here in engine mason.build because it doesn't depend on doc tests. We'll be adding a subgear. No, it must be to be the last thing, subgear tests. And now inside tests, we will have an mason.build. Just check. Yeah. Here inside mason.build that will be having our doc test dependency. And here, and now we'll be having another site engine and another mason.build. Yeah, it's a lot of mason build. Because we can come here and add a subgear engine. And let me check one thing. You can make test parameters. And pass some arguments. Parallelism, priorities, skip test and errors, run subset of tests. Oh, I can just use the project name, the sub-project name. What is a sub-project name? We can check it here for sub-project. We can have multiple sub-projects. Oh, here, sub-projects. Oh, yeah, no. Now it clicked with me. It's this sub project or it's another thing named sub project. I think we have two things, different things named sub project. this documentation doesn't have hyperlinks. Yeah. Built-in objects, build host target machine, elementary types, functions, built-in objects, turned objects, reference table. Oh, performance comparison, contact information, design information, in-depth tutorial, multiple build systems, one build director, playground, part using multiple build directors. Yeah, it's not what I want. Let's just don't think about it yet. Later we think about it. So here we'll be creating, I think, here at the Mason build. Yeah, we have to remove it. And here we'll be having some things. First of them, we need to create a, let's just come back here to the unit test. We need to create our executable unit tests here. Yeah, we need to create an executable. Executable, it's equal to executable. And we'll be naming it as engine flash test. And we'll be including our test.cpp. And the dependencies, the first of them will be the doc test tab, but we also need here to use our engine that is defined as engine lib. Our engine lib, that's what we want. Oh no, or not. I think we, yeah, what I need in reality, I think it's engine lib depth. So underline depth and copy what we have made here, that we say that executable to link with the engine lib. I think that is it. But let's just break here some lines. I need a formatter for that. And let's create a test. Yeah, it's test. The name of this test will be engine test also. Engine flash test. And we'll pass the XC executable. And let's go to our just file and also add here, will be here, and test, just test, that will be calling our Mason test. But the Mason test command, testing tool, and it's build the project, the test, the Mason test, or no? Let me check it. Just test. No such build data. Yeah. So we need to build the project before that. So here we build, we call build, and later we call test. All keyword arguments must be after positional arguments. What? It's working, but what it means? Maybe it's because, no, it's not because. We call dependencies in just comma. Yeah, I think it's not a. Oh, maybe, no. Maybe I need a comma here. Let test. No, it's not something like a common. Build Mason log. Okay, we can come here at build Mason logs, Mason log. Probably to be at the end. Contain the. It's saying no package named doc test found. Oh no, it's okay. It's because error in build line 1 column 6. It's that line 1 column 6 executable. I'm right. Test engine, line 1 column 6. All keyword arguments must be after positional arguments. What is a keyword arguments here? Let's search it. And I think I didn't say it at the streams, but I'm trying to not use AI for this project because it's because the the main goal with that is to learn about is to learn. So and if I use the AI, it'll be just like guiding someone what I want to do. Here I want to really know to learn what I to do. So later we can guide an AI and try to write something. And just check that it will just say that we don't have any tests yet. At least it's what I expected and expect. Yeah, it says we have no build data file. Okay. And now just to confirm that issue is here. All keywords arguments must be after an positional argument. Is test.cpp. Yeah. In test dependencies. Maybe I misspelled something. So let's test better and check if this works. Okay, doc tests dot h doesn't work. Okay, the main issue is here. And I think that works. No, compilation exceeded abnormally. No such build data file as okay. That is what we expect for now. Yeah, we expect that because we doesn't have that test uncommented. No? Oh, I'm fault that just test here. No such build data. Hmm. Okay, mas now that I know what is, I can, for example, link that. No such build data file. So we can search it like the old ways. Yeah, it's what exactly what I want. Oh, yeah. We need to come here at our just file, and we need at least to pass here how we was doing Mason test, that's dash C build year, just test, and it passed. It passed, but not exactly. Doc test integrate with Mason. Not exactly what I want. Yeah, it has an Mason build, but with Mason test. I got a timeout. I ported. Let me. I will ask here the AI to be faster in that case. How to integrate the doc test with the Mason build system unit tests. Just a minute. Yeah, it's what I done. Just to check here, if I go to build and go to tests and run the engine tests, yeah, it has a better interface here. And when I run Mason tests, oops, and when I run here the test, it's it's like I have just one single test. Yeah, I the Mason test has it on our output on std out. Is possible to use the doc test output. Dash v and test. I think we need to run here. We need to go here. Yeah, it's here with dash. I think the better is dash dash no dash std split. And that std split. Not worked. And the dash v. Oops. Here. Oh, the dash v works. But why did no std split doesn't work? In reality, we can just make dash dash help. I think that dash v it's a verbose mode. No std split. No, it's not right what I want. Print errors log base. Data. It's possible for us to have an verbose and quiet mode at the same time. What would be no? Okay, it will be the. And what is the quiet mode output? It's because that thing we wouldn't be using the Mason test. We'll be just running here, going to the build gear inside it will be inside engine dash test inside tests. Where is the log? No, I think I already closed that. Let's just come here and see tests, engine test, tests, engine dash test. I think, yeah, just test. It compiles and yeah, it's what I want. And here now, and we have how many hours open time? Almost 1 hour just configured in doc test. Yeah. And thinking that's right. Oh, but I hadn't. Oh, that's the scene test. Yeah, it's expected. That here I will be closing. Oh, it's the Mason log. Here, this Mason build will also be closing. Okay, now we need to include the doctest.h and also include our GE and why it isn't been. Oh, I also have here to test. Oh, to go to scenes slash scene_test.cpp. And I'm all thinking what I've done here. Include directors, yeah. Include directors. Let's just let it generate the compile commands. GE game engine slash, yeah, it's showing. Slash scenes slash scene.hpp. And now here you can see that we need also the we also need the engine lib dep. But I don't know if it will be working. Yeah, it's that just says that and I think that we really need here it's a lot of Mason build open. Yeah, we really need that ant.hpp. Now thinking about it, we can take that and come here to the root. I think that will be working. Oh, it's a no variable. Yeah, expected. Because we need to get then here. And why all keyword arguments must be positional arguments again? Why oh, I know why it's giving me issues. I need to do that. Sorry. Just check here. I'm returning that. Now I think that will be working. Yeah. And here, yes, it was extreme dumb thing to do. And I think if I, yeah, restarting here work it. Now, after 1 hour of stream, let's start writing our tests. So we create a test case. And inside the test cases, we can have sub cases. Okay. And we can have a test suite. So thinking about that, we'll be creating a test underline suite begin. No, begin. That will be scenes slash scene. That will be the suite. And here will be our test suite and great. Now, and here it's a method call, function call. Now we write our test case, but I'm write a test case or a test case class. What is a test case class? It's possible to write test case inside the class bodies and oh, okay. Yeah, but I don't want to test the private of a class. It just needs to that is will be just in. And for now, we'll be just in testing the create entity, I think. Create entity, create, how they named the tests here. Test entity creation. Yeah, so we'll be needing a check assertions. This is only print a message if check mark this kids valid. Okay. And requires the test case, the assert phase. Okay. What we need to create an entity? We need a registry. We need the registry to create that entity, and we'll be converting it. Okay, so first of all, let's create our scene. Auto scene equal to scene g scene. The ID vai ser test, and just here we'll be using the GE scenes using namespace GE scenes. We can remove here. Unary false. Okay. It will be returning exceptions. Okay, with that we can check. Okay, we can check if it throws an exception. If it, but in our case, I think if it throws an exception, it just, for example, it just, how do I say that? It just, oh, it just failed the test. Yeah. I also want to check here the, oh, to be faster, I'm here. I want to check the ECS file because I want to know what this entity has that I can confirm to confirm that that is created. Basically, at an empty state, nothing. So can I just only test if it's an array? For example, it's returned something. So it's capture, yeah. No, it's check. I'll be just using check. Oh, check underline unary scene dot create entity. And I also need to include here the slash ECS slash entity. I think it works. Yeah, no match operator. Because yeah, we can't convert it to Nambu. I just very string passage constructors. Floating point and check and yeah, because I just need to know if it doesn't cross anything. Oh yeah, we have something here that is expect. Oh, it's not expect. It's check. What I want is check no throw. That what is this is what I want. And it's compiled and the test passed. Great. So now that we checked that is working, let's start our work here at the commits. First of all, I will station everything, and here at the end, I think so. Let's have one thinking here. I think that I will be creating a pull request that will be adding every test to the project. So, and if possible, I want to edit here. It will be a lot of work. Let's just accept it in that way. For now, I want to unstage this. And now we'll be creating a new, oops. GG, we'll be creating here a new buffer, new branch. That is a derivation of origin master. The name of the branch will be add tests. And will be change. Oh, we'll be changing the branch to the add tests branch. Now that we are at add tests, we'll be creating our commit that will be chore add doc test to the project. Add doc test, just that. Add doc test, great. And here will be an test engine slash scenes implement scene tests. Great. And how many time? A little bit more than 1 hour. Let's create our entity test. So here we have our entity.hpp. We'll become here and edit dash slash dot slash tests. Inside tests engine, inside engine, I want an ECS slash entity underline test.cpp. And here the scenes, I will be basically copying that, pasting, because I basically will be needing the same thing. I'm just letting it as an ECS, and here will be ECS and entity. Okay, we already tested the entity creation, so we need to test another things here. And it will be a lot of things that we'll be testing. First, we need to test if it adds a component. So let's add that. Oh, I just opened the scenes because I forgot our test case. It has a test case template. How it works. Test case. So be parameterized. It just pass a parameter. Yeah, it's generate parameters. Templated test cases. Yeah. Suppose you have multiple implementations of the same and want to make sure that all of them satisfy the same common requirements. Yeah, it's what I want. Okay. And apply that test ID std tuple float double. And for later instantiation. Type you can package multiple types in a single one like this. Test case templates, pairs. Oh, okay. So let's create here some structs. Some struct, for example, that struct will be a position and it will be an int x and y. Just an example here we have in an struct, for example, velocity that will be having a, oh, here it's better to be a float, and here we'll be having a float, dx and dy. Great, and we also need here a semicolon here, and we need a constructor that will be having a float x, the default value of 0, a float y with the default value of 0, and here we can use xx, y, and great. I used the wrong thing here. It's the colon. Yeah, I can't do much about that. And here, let's make here, and velocity float dx equals 0 and float dy equals 0. I will probably will be removing that check because a lot of times we can't do anything with it. And here, okay, we have two random components. Test case underline template. That will be it, and we'll be come here and define how it's working. So it be components. Let me just, I think I understand here. So it will be components, and I just use comma here. Position, comma, velocity. And it maybe will be working. So here we'll be naming this test, the test as add component test, and we have type T. Write one test case for the direct pass the list of types. Okay, type T is the types that we have. So here, I think that is what we'll be using inside of it in components. That T will be T component. I think it's wrong. I think, yeah. So that's test case will be needing to create a scene, an auto scene at the stack equals scene test. Okay. And we also need to create, it has something like I would like something like I create and test some code that runs in test case. Sometimes a group then using word, and that code runs before every test. And so takes a classic style. Test case can stupid some group then use a word test fixture. Required roles. Get ID. Yeah, I think it's that, but I will check it later. It's read that, or we can create some internal function. So here we'll be having our entity that is equal to scene dot create entity. And with that we can build our thing here that is entity dot add component of type C component, and here we pass the arguments. But it will be instance template class. Wait, destination of template class is the position and that's entire requested here. Validate requirement is reference v position. Maybe, just maybe that has an issue here, but I don't know for sure. And the T component, I will be wanting to generate where's here parameterized tests. It don't, it can't generate for example random values. I think no. So we can use the generate here for example, for 10.10, 20.10, thirty dot 10 dot 20.0. And yeah, they are magic numbers, but they don't care here. And our second, because the two of them accept it, will be also the same thing. 20.0, 30.0. Auto component. And yeah, I really think that we had an issue here. Or maybe it's just the LSP. No, we really have an issue. And I think it's that because here I need to use the std make shared. Std make shared game and Goiaba engine and scenes scene. So here we'll be doing in that way. That is how it will be working in the production code, but I'm thinking that it has an issue a real issue. And now I need to check if I got a component here. So I need to check. Is the template the concept of the comparison? We need to check equal if component just to be easier. I will be naming it also as x and y and making here x and y, but yet receiving the x and the y, because so I can do component.x here and it will must be equal to float x equal to it, and float y is equal to that. X val and y val. X value, y value, and it will be equals to x val. It must be equal to x val, and here it will the y must be equals to y val. It must be. And it worked. Works? Oh, it works. I thought that I will be having an issue, but assertions. Oh, wait. It's just one test case and it's too fast. It's not compiling. Yeah, it's not compiling because I forgot. I think that I forgot to add here. Yeah. ECS anti-test.cpp. Now I'll be getting the error, I think. Static assertion failed. Okay, let me understand it. It's a lot of things. And called decal type auto on. Okay. Passing const as these are discards a qualifier. Passing const entity and base registry. Oh, yeah, we had also had that issue. Okay, but I have no idea about how to solve that. Here I can see in calls decal type and base register template in place. Okay, it's at that in place. Passing const and basic regis as these are discard qualifiers. Okay, we need to check the entity.hpp. Oh, it's because that const, I think. So we can do it. That will be solving the issue. No. And now it's my issue here. Okay, so oh, maybe I need to include something. It's having a lot of issues, but I also now I know here that here it cannot be also const has component can be const and red string. The get component, I think, can be const. And here, just check if it's the issue. It's in my editor. I can see here. Which is the method that I can call, that I can use to get the value. Here it's the value. So I need to call, or it can be just a dot value. Dot value or value. Oh, it value, it's a method. So dot value dot x dot value dot y, and I also must check it's a require underline unary component that if it's unary or require unary. Okay, this must work. We failed with code 1. Non-static member. Okay, the member std expected. Velocity, you name it, union mval. I know that I've said that I wouldn't be using AI, but I I will be using because I need to know the solution of that, and I want to finish that stream by now because it's already late here in my time zone. reasoning. I don't remember how to change that. Okay. Let's also include tests, entity, entity tests, also include entity.hpp based on the error log, and add these two files, identify the issue, explain it, and suggest a fix for it. And let's just wait a little bit. And that will be the last test that will be made in today. Because it's already way too late here. I need to do some things. A type's not a doc test uses. Yeah. Exactly. This. Your test instantiates it has so compilation fails. So I can't return. I need to use an std reference wrapper. Okay, I found some issues. Also some issues. First, the first issue that the AI has pointed for us. It's that we need to do this. And also now we need also here std reference wrapper of the type the component. And that is it. Okay, I think I'll be needing some way to dereference that reference wrapper. Reference line wrapper. Okay, I need to use the get. It's a bit of function calls here, nested function calls. And I think I also need to change it here because has component also. No, has component, so I don't need to change it. But it's a little bit weird API. I want to change that in future because I have a component that I did use the dot value to check if it has that value. Yeah, I don't like very much that API. But what matters today is that test runnings and we got an error. Okay, I'm having thinking that it's not an array component value. So I will be from here to an expected and re- require component require component. So I think must require equal true. If I just use the require, it thinks that irrigation. Let me get that as component, that get component, add add component in reality. Let me copy that return type because the LSP isn't helping me here. Yeah, now require unary, it must has value. It's the opposite. Require unary false, or it's giving me error. Yeah, it's giving me an error. So this test is working. Okay, it returns. Require false. Okay, we haven't logged in. Let's check assert. Hmm. Capture. Okay, I need. I can just make something like that here. If it doesn't have value, I can just come here and use an capture for the component dot error. And I also need some way here at assertions. I don't need an assertion. I need to just I just need a way to make that test fail. Maybe it's that that's fail. Oh, it's I can add some data fail component returned an error. why it's an empty error? Turn an error. Oh, okay. The error will be an entity error. So I need some way if it has value. I don't understand. It can return an error in two cases. Let's just use the capture here. And here I will be letting an empty message that works. It says that it's empty. I'm not understanding that. It doesn't have a value, but it also doesn't have an error. What's happening? Okay, but I will let that for tomorrow. In reality, in reality, the day after tomorrow, because tomorrow is Thursday, and Thursday is the hardest day for me to stream because I have class in my university at the until the 7 p.m. So probably will be the day after tomorrow or Friday. So I'll be ending it here for today because I'm really tired and I can't understand why it isn't working because it doesn't have a value and it also doesn't have an error. So everyone, goodbye and until that let's see again at the next stream.